So today I'm going to talk about my Peddinghaus number 12 anvil with the upsetting block. It's 275 pounds. I've had it for about 5 years. Very, very happy with it. And I've built quite a bit of tooling over the years. And I've tried to build the tooling and standardize it to this anvil rather than my other two anvils, because it takes a lot of time to make your tooling and it's not going to fit the other anvils properly. So I think you're better off to find the best anvil that you're going to own for the rest of your life and put your effort into building tooling for that anvil. It's handy having a couple anvils. You get a nice flat face you can go work, and then you can come back to one that you've got your tooling in. But overall, I would utilize your time efficiently by building the tooling for the anvil you're going to keep for the rest of your life, because if you decide to get a better anvil later, well, your tooling is probably not going to fit and you'll have to modify and butcher all your tooling or sell it with the anvil and rebuild. So here's some of the tooling I've built for this anvil, and a couple ideas in case there's something you like, and maybe there's stuff you don't like. Alright, so let's take a look at some of the tooling I have for this anvil that I'm super happy with. Start off with this. It basically is another anvil face you can use, and it just slides into the pritchel and the hardy hole, and that way you can work around different radiuses. You can cut, grind, or drill a contour in here and not feel like you're hurting your anvil. You have concave sections to work over, convex sections. You can grind a radius into it for a specific application. Very handy to have a second anvil face that you're not worried about. Even if you're going to work material and you've got to hit it with a 4-pound sledge and you got a buddy helping you, it's handy to have a face that you're not too concerned if somebody misses with the hammer that you're going to damage your anvil. You get a simple cut-off tool with a hardy hole. Sometimes you need another anvil when you don't have the real estate. You want to do small work, you want to work the inside of a bend, do a corner. You can easily make a quick anvil that fits into your anvil. Bending forks. Sometimes it's handy to have them sit straight like that. Depending if your anvil's permanently bolted down, you may want to work them at a diagonal, depending where your real estate is for you to work your anvil. But having a bunch of different bending forks and different diameters, it's a handy tool to have. Some of the stuff you make is just super simple, like these. They're just turned on a lathe. They can rotate in the hardy hole, so you can't really clamp things and twist it. But if you're just working around and using this as another anvil face to work stock around, those are quite handy. If you've got something you want to use in your hardy hole that you don't want to rotate, but you don't want to put the effort in, you just want to turn it quick on the lathe, you can always weld a little key in, and that will stop its rotation in the hardy hole as well, the same as if it was square stock. When they get bigger, you can use thick wall pipe and make them different diameters. It's pretty simple, just put some key steel inside of a pipe and weld it up. But where that is quite handy is if you're working stock, you can use that to clamp your stock and then go to your bending forks for working the material around the radius. And you can make these in pretty short order. This is a handy tool too, especially if you're making delicate things that you want to put a radius on the outside and you want it to be flat on the inside, as you will see in this photo. And I can enlarge it and you can take a better look at the Tommy poker. So this is a very handy unit. There's some square stock that's being machined so that it fits remember which way this goes. Just like that. There we go. So that won't be very good just like that. But if you have another pin that lines up for your pritchel hole, now you can work material around these. You can change this. All these holes are a slightly different diameter, or distance. They're about 1/8 of an inch different each hole, and then these are about 1/8 of an inch different in overall diameter. These pins have a weld here, and then a machined indent there, so that the weld doesn't affect where these sit, and at the same time these don't fall through your bending jig. And this I usually leave a piece of paper towel on. You know, when you're not using your anvil, it doesn't have to be wasted space. Some of the stuff you build for your anvil is going to be found material. And some of this is great stuff. This is a rigging. I think they call them a bell. That would normally be crushed and swaged onto a cable, big sling. Came out of a rigging outfit. And you know, that gives you a nice cone to work off of for $5. And it's probably better material than a lot of the stuff you're going to find. And this is the last thing I'm really going to show. It's just how handy it is to build different anvils to fit your anvil. For abuse, for different corner radiuses, you want to work your stock around. But it's really easy to make a face on here and put a radius in it, or rather than grinding the crap out of your anvil, you can have a piece that's, you know, kind of expendable. And the last thing is a butcher block, wire brush. They're really good for when you come out of a heat before you start to work your material, and so you're not pounding the slag into your work. But what I will say is that it's worth building the tooling for an anvil you plan on keeping. So if you think you're going to upgrade anvils, I would suggest that you postpone it a little bit until you get the anvil you're going to keep, your main anvil, your biggest, heaviest anvil, and you build the tooling for that. Because otherwise, when you decide to upgrade again to a better anvil, you're going to end up having to rebuild that material, your face plates, your bending jigs, your small anvil shapes, the hardy holes, the chance of them being in the same location or even the same distance apart, the same thickness of material, your pritchel hole will be different. Really want to build all your tooling for an anvil you're going to keep for a long, long time. And especially in a shop like this where I don't have room to swing a cat, not even a small cat, it's handy to have, this is the anvil that goes outside that you can put all the different tooling in, and then maybe you've got another anvil that you leave just as a bare face so you're not moving the jigs all the time, and you have two different ones you can work. So what I'll say about this anvil is I've worked on a Peter Wright 100-pound anvil and a little 55, but this Peddinghaus, as much as I don't like the weld seam in the middle, I do love the upending block. It is a great, great anvil. I mounted it on a 1/2-inch steel plate, and then 5/8 steel plate 3 inches wide as compression post for the corners, 6-inch thick wall pipe down to a 3/8 round base, and filled the pipe with sand to help deaden the ring a little bit, and that seems to have done it. I did put a bit of a gusset underneath the upsetting block, not that that's really necessary, and then toe clamps for the bottom of the anvil, and that way you can keep them tight, and little key angle iron sort of keys on the outside corners so there's no movement, and it's sturdy as heck, and I've got nothing but good stuff to say about this anvil. If you've got the money, and they're expensive now, but I would totally recommend it. It's got good ring, good rebound. It's a nice anvil. All right, thanks for watching. Keep your stick on the ice.